Hello, hello, good morning, and welcome all. I am Chris Stegall once again with MK Partners, joined today by Jessie Penaloza. Jessie, thanks for hopping on.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? And how's it going, Chris?
Yep. And today we are scheduled to be joining the webinar announcement, reveal, update, expanded understanding of Salesforce's newest and most expensive product pricing tier, Unlimited Plus.
Oh my God.
And so this was sort of, I think it was revealed at Dreamforce last year, but sort of slipped under the radar. And now Salesforce has decided that we are going to get a webinar showing us exactly what is included with that level of Salesforce pricing. It's the new tier in Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. So I will try to pull up the Sales Cloud pricing here while we wait for the, the webinar to begin. Let's take a look here. Wow, that makes my face entirely too large. Let's get Jessie and I both on screen. Cool. Well, it looks like Sales Cloud pricing, this had the Unlimited Plus banner on it before and showed $500 a month for Unlimited Plus. I don't see that on here right now. Let's see if we can get to it a different way. Enterprise, there's Unlimited Plus. So not all of the web pages have been updated as of yet, it seems. And I navigated away from my event page. So let's go ahead and get us logged back into the webinar. Oh, it looks like we are live. Let's go ahead and get my volume turned up here so we can tune in.
Is it just me, or we're not the volume's not coming through yet?
Okay, so I can hear the audio, but you do not hear the
No.
audio.
Right.
That is interesting. Let's see how we can solve that. Edit the name of the screen. Okay, so I don't see a great way to add audio here. Jessie, do you mind checking on your phone and seeing if the audio is playing as a YouTube viewer?
Of course. 1 second here.
And in the meantime, I'll just kind of assume what we can't hear and narrate what she's saying. Oh, it's a cool, this is a very interesting webinar setup. Look at this. I can manipulate the objects on the screen. Okay, webinars being turned to the computers, make sure your speakers are turned on, yada, yada, yada. Okay. This is very cool. Okay, so right now we're just talking about Sales Cloud. You're still muted, Jesse, but I have it on my phone. Okay, yeah, and I can hear me talking, but I cannot hear the webinar. So that appears to be a new development of this fancy webinar tool. Is that you can't pull the audio out from a tab and share it via the live stream. So that's different than when we have streamed like the Dreamforce keynote, say, or anything that was more of a standard video stream. So, given that, I think you and I will probably just have to chat about the standout points on here. But it also gives you a chance to look at this fancy webinar interface that they have revealed here, where I can like rearrange all of the widgets and summon some additional widgets. Okay, help, nothing. This is our slides deck. We can resize this. And then we've got little widgets for submitting questions, sharing additional content, a resource library. And yeah, this does speak to Unlimited Plus's sort of quiet announcement at Dreamforce. We have the Dreamforce sales keynote and the Sales Cloud roadmap from Dreamforce 23 in there. So far, it's been a lot of conversation around Einstein and Sales Cloud, and that's to be expected. We were kind of expecting that Unlimited Plus would be heavy on the Einstein AI additions to Sales Cloud. We got a survey, our presenters. I can send an email to somebody else to join, and then a reaction.
Yeah, so just come back here. Looks like they're using that on 24, and I did a quick search, and yeah, it's more like an interactive stream, and it creates webinars. So it's pretty much like your own virtual and personalized webinar. So everybody can have a different configuration of how they want everything shown. So that's pretty cool. It's not limited to one view, but you can manipulate and have it kind of show up the way you want it to. And then that interactive tool on the bottom as well allows you to do a lot more. So I'm curious to know if this is going to be the new method they're going to be using to create webinars moving forward.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to see a live look at Activity 360 and Revenue Intelligence.
And it's always nice to see people sharing their backgrounds, because that's one thing we always like to talk about.
Yeah. Okay, so this is showing off a Salesforce widget, it looks like, adjacent to the LinkedIn page, where we have some Salesforce shortcuts we can use. Okay, so that was surfacing potential contacts and leads that match the name on the LinkedIn screen. So see if this person exists in your org. And then if you do an action on this page, it'll automatically be captured by Sales Cloud. So really just like a extended integration between LinkedIn and your org here. LinkedIn demo. And now here's a dashboard of all sales activities. Okay, and then this is showing us activity by title and then broken down by account with the key on the right hand side. Not sure that that's like it's an out of the box dashboard here. You could definitely build that presumably in Salesforce or Tableau.
without having Unlimited Plus.
Yeah, I would think so. And like they'd have to enter that information manually versus like if they're doing all their contacts through LinkedIn and it's being connected. Ah, yes. Complicated web. I feel like it does look complicated, but in reality, this is probably a simpler version and, doing it with code or programmatically. I'm having a nice drag and drop screen. Okay, so this is showing his usage and activity across a bunch of different sources, putting all that data into one page. So very much that like customer 360 single source of truth that Salesforce is always striving for. We can kind of see the color coded aspects of the customer data profile on the left. You got service profiles with the heart marketing with the little orange magnifying glass, I believe that is, and then loyalty profiles, and then presumably in engagement history, you would see those tagged appropriately. And now we're going to see how AI gets piped in there once the data foundation has been established, connecting all your disparate data sources.
This will be interesting because I'm curious to know whether or not they only release this particular type of AI features within the Unlimited Plus package or tier.
I'm curious about like the boost rep effectiveness tab that we got there. Let's see it.
So that was pretty cool. They have that additional module there that's interactive while everything else is static.
Okay, so now we've got prompts to draft emails, prompts to give you some chat support, AI to do call summaries and write up your activities. And I think now they're going to give us a little live demo of the AI in action. Maybe. Okay. So
Looks
first,
like
I think
she's
we're going to get a
giving.
little look at the AI chatbot here.
I'm always curious to know how many customers will actually use the chatbots for assistance.
Do you ever use the chatbots?
From time to time, if it's something straightforward, but if I want to actually talk a little bit more, something specific, I personally feel like calling in or at least getting to, well, within the bot, asking to speak to a representative. You
Yeah.
know, maybe I'm old school on that part. So this transition for new innovation to be able to answer everything through there.
Okay. So this lead score is generated by AI, and then presumably it's ranking their leads so that a sales rep can go in priority order of who's most likely to be positive engagement for the day. It's interesting. Like I know this is a product demo to like sort of convince the top level Salesforce customers to jump up to an even higher level. And so like we're really pushing the features and functionality here and trying to show what Salesforce can do. But if I look at this screen from with an unfamiliar eye, if I'm new to Salesforce, there's a lot going on these.
Yep.
And the good news is anybody that has been working in sales anytime in the last 15 years has experience with Salesforce. You've worked somewhere that uses Salesforce, you've used it to turn your leads into opportunities and manage your sales process. That's good. Because if I was an admin looking at this or an IT department thinking about like an unfamiliar sales team and having to train them up on where to navigate on these screens and find all those different things, I would be like, this is going to be a lot of documentation.
And training.
Yeah.
And time allocated from individual employees on the regular work week, or even through the starting point when the first
this is
onboarding process.
This like video call breakdown that gives you a call summary and next steps and really breaks out who's speaking when and insights and comments. Puts a lot more pressure on, when somebody says like, hey, this call's going to be recorded. Is that okay? To know that I'm going to be broken down like that.
With calls, that's something I've heard over many, many years. But for video calls, I guess it's something I have not been experienced with. I don't usually get that prompt when I go jump on the meeting and says your call is going to be recorded. The meeting being recorded, yes, but not through some sort of transcribing and kind of breaking every single word that you said, how many times you said certain words, and what was the output.
Yeah. Yeah, presumably now when it's like, oh, we're going to record this call, so turn off your cameras if you want. It's also like, oh, there's going to be a transcript and a summary and next steps and all of that. And now we're looking at Slack and how it's connected to Slack here.
This also brings me the question to ask: how many people actually use the OS version of Slack, which I believe is what they're demoing, versus the web version, to actually just launch it within the web, one of your tabs?
Oh yeah, you use the web browser version?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Right. And I don't see many people showing that version usually when they do these demos. I feel like that's the version a lot of people use.
Yeah. I feel like it's interesting how frequently, like, presumably platforms have more flexibility when it comes to installing the actual software. Um, but we've been in a, cloud computing environment for so long that anytime I'm joining a Zoom meeting and it's like, click here to launch Zoom, like you click and then it spins for a second and then it says like, or click here to join from your browser. I'm always like, yeah, let's join from your
Exactly.
browser. Same
Yep.
thing with Slack. I feel like given that choice, most of us are going
Hmm.
to opt for the browser-based version just so we can keep our tabs organized and
Exactly. Yep.
not have one more program running that's going to potentially behave unusually.
Hmm. Agree. So everything's on tab base on your preferred browser, I guess. That's the only catch, which is your go-to browser.
Okay, say goodbye to manual tasks. We are looking at flows and pre-built workflows that can be customized.
So this has always drew my attention because having a geographic layout of all your customers' locations can be helpful. So you kind of familiarize yourself with territories, not just from a sales side, but from marketing side, from business side as well.
Yeah, I feel like the organized rep time in the field with location intelligence is something that's been like it's a common problem in computing, right? It's like the traveling salesman problem, I think was one of those that historically people are better at solving than computers, where it's like, here's a map, here's all the visits that, Susan, the salesperson, has to go make today. What's the shortest route they can take between all of these? And humans are good at looking at a map and kind of eyeballing, I think I would do like that. And computers, can theoretically see all of the possibilities, but I think it's a big computing ask. There was something about that traveling salesman problem that I remember from the early days of computer science learning. Um, and so I know that's one that they like throw at AI and Einstein a lot. Field service, Lightning, and Salesforce Maps all sort of were steps in this direction at doing that. Show me my salesperson's day and then plan their route for them. So it's interesting to see like that keep coming up as like it's clearly a common use case, but it's like they keep solving this problem. Let's see if I can. Here's a traveling salesman problem. It's an NP hard problem. So tough for computers to do. Sorry, aside over.
No, it's fine. It's just curiosity, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay, this looks like Tableau. It's Analytics Studio. Okay, so it's looking at where deals get stuck during the sales process based on AI analyzing the opportunities and where things kind of stalled out. This is a tough screen. There's a lot going on this screen.
Be curious to
So
actually speak to the people that put these screens together.
yeah, so this is like from a management perspective. This is the data showed me where my reps are stalling out, and now it's presented like a training motivation program I can put my reps through to help them close deals faster. Okay. Now we're getting a look at how we can edit these on the fly, the sales plan builder. So we took our new product, Electra, and added new reps onto this product. Okay, so this is what geographic assignment is going to look like in Unlimited Plus.
And that's what the new product or new area is selected as well when they do that forecast there. Preview.
Yeah. Looks okay. So it generated their quota based on the geographic split and splitting it equally across all of the nodes. And like what we're seeing there, it just took the amount that 87,065,122 and divided it by 5.
Right, because the quota distribution was 25% per quarter.
Yeah.
So it was equally divided. Like I say, yes, based on the number of product. I mean, regions, I guess. It looks like we're coming to the close here. I just didn't know. I believe, like, I don't want to sound a little bit, on one side versus the other, but that's something that the Excel sheet can do without having to have Salesforce. If you need to
Yeah.
have a quick
Yeah. This is definitely
session.
like a push to get us off of spreadsheets once and for all, as they've said. Um, but yeah, I feel like it'll really be interesting to see how these get used. I think, you know, it's a little bit tough when you say, hey, here's new features. We announced them at Dreamforce. And then a couple months later, it's like, let's demo them. And there's not much to show because we know how we want them to work, but we haven't seen clients use them in the field yet and see how they actually play out. Because theoretically, the demo environment is limited by the amount of data that it has. Because that look at here's, the big goal number was auto generated. So presumably AI was looking at like previous sales or what they need based on the product or something to generate that goal number. And then they had selected the setting like, oh, let's just split it up evenly. But theoretically, there's a way to say, hey, AI, you know, divvy up this quota fairly, and it'll do it based on the number of businesses headquartered in each territory, or the population density of the cities in your territory, or something. Because otherwise, you and I could definitely make that in Excel or just a Salesforce formula field.
Yeah.
That would say, hey, let's do a lookup to product goal, and then let's do product goal divided by number of sales reps to get my individual sales rep quota.
Agree. And also, it would be interesting to have them show a little bit more regarding how in actual budget allocation, as the quarters or each month goes through, it gets adjusted, as top management will want to adjust those to kind of try to offset and come up with realistic numbers, or try to push the goal to make sure they can compensate for any of the myths that they had in those slower months.
Yeah.
I know that tends to be very common, especially from upper management. They'll be like, okay, this didn't happen. And then you have directors pushing back up because they're like, well, it's not going to happen. But then upper management wants to, no, you gotta find one way or another. And that's where things, conversations get a little bit hectic.
Yeah. And now it looks like this second half of the webinar, it looks like we've moved into our fireside chat portion, which I think is going to be a little painfully boring if you can't hear what is being said by Tony Kays, SVP of Sales at Salesforce. So I think we're probably done with the demo and screen portion, which means probably a fair time for us, Jessie, to kind of like wrap things down, discuss what we saw. Otherwise, it's going to be just a lot of like me repeating what Tony is saying right now. But also, presumably, he's going to speak to the excitement of the possibilities of these new features, what they're going to bring to sales teams, and what the roadmap looks like. But we'll take a look at the once again what we have seen. So in terms of the price, Unlimited used to be the top tier at $330 per user per month. Unlimited Plus, we see for another $170 a month. We're getting everything in Unlimited, plus the performance management enablement, team collaboration with Slack, the ability to connect Salesforce and external data with Data Cloud, like we saw in that first LinkedIn connection that was shown to us, as well as a bunch of AI features, the territory split ups, and things like that.
So I guess I had a question here.
Yeah.
If I'm jumping on. The user that would be actually using the Unlimited Plus, would this be the actual sales user that's actually going out and working through on a day-to-day basis, or is this the one facilitating the plan for the sales team to go ahead and determine how many sales teams they're going to use and where they're going to deploy each one of them on a day-to-day basis?
I think it'll be all of your users. That's a good the details of how Salesforce sells deals question. It's I was going to say belief, but I guess at this point it's really just more of an assumption. So I could be wrong. But it's seemed to me that whatever version of Salesforce you're on, your entire org is on. So,
Okay.
If we have a 10-person company, you and me are salespeople. Tina is our sales manager, and Jeffrey works in marketing, and we have 3 customer service, people in charge of fulfilling orders and answering calls. If we're on Unlimited, then all of us are $330 per user per month. And if we're just using it, if just the sales team is using it, then it's like, okay, we would have logins and they wouldn't. There'd be just 2 of us at this tier. But I don't think there's a way to say, oh, Jessie and Chris are sales. They're on the Unlimited edition, and then we have our support people and they're also on Sales Cloud. If they were on Support Cloud, maybe you could do like a Support Cloud Professional and then Sales Cloud Unlimited, but even that, I'm not sure. So that's a good question for a Salesforce AE. So next time we are, at a Dreamforce or a community event, we should definitely pick their brain and see how that works.
I guess the reason I was it just came through top of my head here is because that's $6,000 that you have to offset for that individual, right? So that's $6,000 in a 12-month plan there. You'd have to be like, okay, how's the company going to get back that $6,000 to be able to pay for this service? So I guess I was just looking at from that point trying to figure, okay, what justifies that cost? Even at 330, right? That's still 12, 360. I mean 330. What'd that be? 3,600.
3,600 plus 360 at 3,960.
Yeah. So 30, even at that point, right? Let's say 4K, right? 4K versus 6K, right? Offsetting those costs on a user basis. Would be interesting to kind of see how they break that down. Because then that would determine, that $170, right, that you had discussed and brought up is, okay, how do we justify that bump? And do those features or those use cases? Because obviously, like you said, right, even with these features available, somebody still has to come up with the use case, or some use cases were considered. I know sometimes uh, um, platforms develop features for use cases that some of their customers are already using. So it'd be interesting to know whether or not there's already some of Salesforce big customers using some of the features that are deployed within Unlimited Plus, and that's where Unlimited Plus came from.
Yeah. I think also it represents a bundling of products. So the data cloud and revenue intelligence, there's a lot of like add-ons that you could get with Salesforce for an extra spend that I think are included with Unlimited Plus. So some of that, if it's an extra 170 per user per month, that's an extra $2,000 a year in terms of difference. But like if that extra add-on, cost an extra 2,100 a month, then technically you're saving $60 a year or 2,100 a year. You're saving some money. But of course, Salesforce is trying to make more money themselves. So theoretically, their goal is to give you tools that help you grab more return on your investment. So that's why they're leaning so heavily on the AI time savings and things like that, and showing off like, hey, here's how AI is going to help your reps close more deals by showing them what's sticky and giving you as a manager the tools to coach them more effectively. Or, oh, here's how your reps are going to save time straight on the LinkedIn page, being able to access that person's contact record, engage with them, and have the activity captured immediately. Because I think that's one of those things that's sort of the eternal struggle of a system like this is the more data the reps have, the more effective they can be at selling, the more they can see, what activities did I do here that helped this deal close that I didn't do here, so I can identify the gap. The hard thing is, I'm a sales rep. I'm good at having conversations. I'm good at selling the product. I'm good at making phone calls and emails. But if I make a phone call and it takes me 10 minutes to have a great conversation, and then it takes me 5 minutes to write up the little summary of it and like my next steps and put that into the system, then it's 15 minutes for that 10-minute phone call and to give me the data. And so like if anything my org can do to capture things automatically so that my 10-minute phone call stays as close to 10 minutes as possible, then that means I can make 6 calls per hour at 10 minutes a call instead of making 4 calls an hour at 15 minutes a call. And so I've become 50% more effective, which theoretically should be worth, spending an extra, $2,000 a year if I'm going to close 20 grand more deals, say.
Okay. That's a good example on that. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then the other side of this that, like, obviously if they're including a lot of things that are separate pieces, then they can't give them away for free. But I think also one of the things that this Unlimited Plus tier does from a sales perspective is it makes this Unlimited tier look like more of a discount. Like,
okay, yeah, yes, okay, gotcha. Yeah,
yeah,
you got to have one more to kind of shift people on that and be like, okay, this is actually not bad compared to their
yeah,
highest tier. Hmm.
yeah. There's that whole thing about like purchasing psychology and that people will choose the middle priced one
Yes.
because they don't get the cheapest one because it's like, hey, I don't want to skimp out. I want to make sure I'm getting some good value for what I'm spending. But they also don't choose the most expensive one because it's like, hey, I'm not that fancy. I don't need, you know, the most expensive coffee maker on the market, but I don't want the $5 coffee maker. So I'll get a nice middle of the road one. And so
So could we
Unlimited
say
Plus,
that people want to they want to transition people in enterprise over to unlimited?
yeah, like because I feel like if you look at these before, the jump from enterprise to unlimited is basically double. You're doubling your spend. So it's like, oh, is it worth it to me to have twice as many people in my org, twice as much data going in because everyone has like a card and like doubling the people, or same number of people but double the spend because we're giving them more features. But now it's like, okay, well, I can go with unlimited, and if I'm doing my bad shopping brain math, I can go, well, I'm saving almost $200 a month per user by not splurging and going for Unlimited Plus, So psychologically, I think this could have an effect on helping Salesforce close more unlimited deals that would
Yeah.
previously have been stuck with enterprise,
Hmm.
which could be a revenue driver for them in 2024, which would be nice.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
psychological aspects of business.
Yeah. And then the only thing that I want to kind of mention, and it's not a complaint, it's just a thing that I have noticed as Salesforce rolls out. So, like, first we had the Salesforce streaming platform, Salesforce Plus, and now we have Unlimited Plus. So, this Plus has sort of become a naming convention at Salesforce. What I find interesting about it is it has this like very broadly understood connotation. We know that when something is like blah 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 plus, that it means like it's an addition, an improvement, an expanded feature set. So it's got this great like recognition that we understand. But then in terms of communication, it gets a little bit tricky because it's like you and I know to say unlimited plus, and like we pronounce the word plus.
Yeah,
But if you write it out, you don't write unlimited plus, you do unlimited and then the plus sign. But that gives you some interesting situations where, like, if you're searching this in Google, that plus has a different effect. And like if I type in unlimited and then the word plus, I'm not necessarily going to hit
right.
these
Yeah.
results. But if I search unlimited and the plus sign, a lot of times I'll get unlimited and then appended to whatever else I'm searching, So if I do
Right.
unlimited plus pricing, I'll probably find a lot of things that are about the unlimited pricing because it's finding those two search terms and joining them together. So, not a complaint. I don't think Salesforce is going to redesign the way they've been naming things lately. But as a marketer and like writing and searching for these things, it has added an interesting wrinkle where it's like, oh, that doesn't feel perfectly optimized for search engines.
Right. Nope, it's not. You're right. Most definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is a look at Unlimited Plus for Sales Cloud, that webinar. I will say that was, I'm disappointed that we didn't get the audio working
Yeah.
for the webinar itself, but I think we were still able to follow along with those product demos. Yeah, they're still doing the fireside chat. It was, sort of what we expected to see. The integrations for Data Cloud, the introduction of a lot of those AI tools. Very interesting to see how they're differentiating which AI features are available in each, because like Unlimited, right, has historically said predictive and generative AI. And so a lot of the AI stuff they showed, it's like, how do they know what they're walling off that's going to be exclusive to Unlimited Plus as opposed to available
Right.
in
Yep.
both?
Which will be interesting as things start getting broken down. People start actually demoing on their orgs.
Yeah.
The Unlimited Plus for those that actually jump on. I can foresee New York customers considering that instead of existing customers.
Yeah. And I think that was the only thing that I was missing from the webinar, is perhaps something like right at the top that is like this kind of chart. But I would have loved to see like a chart like this, just differentiating between Unlimited and Unlimited Plus. But I know that charts don't sell as well as on-screen demos, so I can understand why we did not do that. But yeah, so here's an example of some of those like additional purchases that get rolled into Unlimited Plus. So Slack and Slack Sales Elevate. But again, it comes down to like, what are you currently spending on Slack, or are you using another tool that you're going to cancel and save? I think a lot of companies are on Slack now, so presumably there's a slight savings you can get there. But yeah, I'll be really curious to see what shows up at Dreamforce next year, basically, and at the user groups that we go to throughout the course of the year, to see who's made the jump to Unlimited Plus and what they're getting out of it, and get some of those like real on the ground feedbacks from clients to hear what they think is worth it, what they maybe think is missing, and sort of see how this pricing tier evolves moving forward. Cool. Well, thank you again, Jessie, for hopping on. Thank you, folks, for tuning in and watching. And I guess let me throw one quick more thank you out to Katie Campbell, Tony Kays, and Samantha Hogan for hopping on that webinar and walking us through a look at Salesforce Unlimited Plus. Do be sure to subscribe here to MK Partners YouTube channel. Find us on the App Exchange for all of your Salesforce partner needs. Find our apps on the App Exchange for all of your in-org document generation via Mambo Merge, adding photos to records via Photo Uploader, integrating systems with Salesforce via Z-Links. And if you have an idea for an app that you would like to build, or to sell, or an app that you guys need to use internally with your org, do drop us a line. We are always happy to help. In the meantime, stay tuned here for all of the latest in Salesforce news, features, updates, upgrades. We got a new release coming up. The spring 24 release, I think, is a couple months away. Is that right, Jessie?
That's right. Yes.
Cool. And so in a few days here, 2 weeks, I think, like the 20th of December.
Right, 20th. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should get release notes and stuff. And with that, probably some more insight to what's coming to Salesforce Unlimited Plus. So again, thank you for watching, Jessie. Thank you for hopping on, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.